Amidst the dying screams of a civilization drowning in its own excess, a handful of Aeldari seers glimpsed the approaching storm. Their warnings echoed through crystal spires and pleasure palaces, speaking of an apocalypse born from the species' own decadence. These prophets, later vindicated by the catastrophic birth of Slaanesh, chose a path that would forever mark them as outcasts among their own kind. Long before the fall shattered the Aeldari Empire, these far-sighted individuals recognized the cancerous corruption eating away at their society's core. They witnessed their brethren's descent into increasingly depraved pursuits of sensation and pleasure, seeing not the claimed artistic expression and cultural advancement, but the seeds of ultimate destruction. Their decision to abandon the heart of Aeldari civilization was met with mockery and contempt from their peers, who dismissed them as primitive traditionalists afraid of progress. These Exodus pioneers, who would become known as the Exodites, sought out habitable worlds far from the centers of Aeldari power. They chose harsh frontier planets that would force them to struggle for survival, believing that only through reconnection with the fundamental challenges of existence could their people avoid the fate that awaited the Empire. These worlds, later termed Maiden Worlds, were terraformed using ancient technology, transformed from inhospitable rocks into verdant paradises. Yet the Exodites did not seek to recreate the technological marvels of their civilization. Instead, they deliberately embraced a more primal existence, forming deep spiritual bonds with their adopted worlds. They developed the World Spirit technology, a unique fusion of their psychic heritage and planetary consciousness, creating a cycle of death and rebirth that would preserve their souls from she who thirsts. This technology, far from primitive, represented one of the most sophisticated applications of Aeldari psychic science, though wrapped in the guise of tribal mysticism. The derision they faced from their kin transformed into desperate envy when the fall finally came. While the heart of the Aeldari Empire imploded into the Eye of Terror and trillions of souls were consumed by the newly born Chaos God, the Exodites endured on their distant worlds. Their foresight and sacrifice had preserved a fragment of their species' nobility, untainted by the excesses that doomed their civilization. Today, these inheritors of ancient wisdom remain among the stars, their worlds sparsely populated but fiercely defended. They stand as living proof that the Aeldari's greatest strengths lay not in their technological achievements or psychic mastery, but in their capacity to understand and accept the natural order of existence. Their story serves as both a warning and a testament to the power of choosing a difficult truth over comfortable destruction. Planetary councils of the Dragon Nobles stand as the primary governing bodies across Exodite worlds, their authority derived not from hereditary privilege, but from their profound connection to the world spirit networks. These aristocrats, despite their seemingly feudal titles, function as master ecologists and psychic shepherds, maintaining the delicate balance between their communities and the consciousness of their adopted planets. Each dragon noble bears responsibility for vast territories, leading their people through seasonal migrations and defending against external threats. The World Singers represent perhaps the most crucial faction within Exodite society, serving as intermediaries between their people and the world spirits. These psychic specialists combine the roles of shamans, historians, and scientists, preserving ancient knowledge while developing new ways to strengthen their planetary bonds. Their abilities extend far beyond simple communication with the planet's consciousness. They actively shape the environment, guide the massive megafauna that serve their communities, and maintain the sophisticated psychic technology that protects their people's souls. Beneath the surface of Exodite society operate the secretive ghost warriors, spectral guardians whose consciousness persists within the world spirit matrix. These entities, composed of departed Exodite souls merged with planetary energies, form an invisible defense network that can manifest through crystalline conduits in times of danger. Their existence demonstrates the sophisticated nature of Exodite technology, despite its organic appearance, representing one of the most advanced applications of Aeldari soul preservation techniques. Wild riders emerge as the militant arm of Exodite culture, mounted warriors who bond with indigenous creatures ranging from swift raptors to towering megasaurs. These cavalry forces combine ancient Aeldari martial traditions with their adopted world's natural ferocity, creating fighting units that can match any technological army. Their training emphasizes spiritual connection with their mounts, developing relationships that transcend simple beast mastery to achieve true psychological synthesis. The Maiden World Wardens serve as dedicated guardians, maintaining hidden networks of defensive installations and monitoring systems across their planets. Unlike their Craftworld cousins Aspect Warriors, these defenders integrate completely with their world's ecosystem, using biological and psychic camouflage technologies that make them virtually indistinguishable from the natural environment. Their vigilance protects not only against external invaders, but also maintains the integrity of the World Spirit Network. Kernus devotees form spiritual brotherhoods dedicated to preserving the old ways of the hunt, seeing themselves as inheritors of their species' most primal traditions. These groups maintain the careful balance of their world's ecosystems through selective culling and species management, their activities governed by complex ritualistic codes that ensure sustainable preservation of resources. Their expertise in tracking and wilderness survival often proves invaluable during times of invasion or environmental crisis. The Young Blood Societies represent the dynamic edge of Exodite culture, composed of youth who seek to prove themselves through dangerous quests and hunts. These groups, while appearing primitive to outsiders, actually maintain sophisticated training programs that preserve ancient Aeldari combat techniques and survival skills. Their trials serve as practical education systems, ensuring each generation maintains the physical and mental fortitude necessary for survival on their demanding worlds. Crystal Seers operate as diplomatic intermediaries between Exodite worlds and their Craftworld cousins, maintaining the delicate relationships necessary for survival in an increasingly hostile galaxy. These individuals master both the sophisticated psychic technologies of their ancestors and the primal connection to their adopted worlds, bridging the gap between different paths of Aeldari survival. Their role proves especially crucial during times of crisis, when cooperation between different Aeldari factions becomes necessary for mutual survival. Observing these interconnected groups reveals the sophisticated social ecology of Exodite civilization, where each faction fulfills essential roles in maintaining their unique way of life. Their society, far from representing a simple rejection of progress, demonstrates an alternative path of advancement that prioritizes sustainability and spiritual harmony over technological dominance. This complex social structure ensures their continued survival while preserving crucial aspects of Aeldari culture that might otherwise have been lost to time. Psychic tremors rippled through the collective consciousness of the Aeldari Empire millions of years before the fall, carrying whispers of impending doom. These earliest warnings manifested in the works of artists and philosophers who documented the subtle shifts in their society's collective psyche. Their paintings began featuring darker themes, their music took on discordant notes, and their literature increasingly explored themes of excess and moral decay. These cultural harbingers, initially dismissed as creative evolution, represented the first tangible signs of the catastrophe to come. Technological advancement paradoxically contributed to the Empire's spiritual decline. The creation of the webway network and the mastery of matter manipulation eliminated virtually all material constraints on Aeldari society. Disease became unknown, aging optional, and physical needs entirely manageable through automation. This freedom from practical concerns, rather than ushering in an age of enlightenment, sparked an increasingly desperate search for new experiences and sensations. The Empire's citizens, lacking any meaningful challenges or limitations, began pushing against the boundaries of pleasure and consciousness itself. Social structures within the Empire underwent radical transformation as traditional values eroded. Ancient practices of discipline, Restraint and spiritual cultivation gave way to increasingly extreme pursuits of personal gratification. The aristocracy, once custodians of cultural wisdom and artistic refinement, transformed into decadent pleasure seekers who sponsored ever more elaborate and disturbing spectacles. This transformation cascaded through all levels of society as citizens competed to demonstrate their sophistication through increasingly outrageous behaviors. Religious institutions, traditionally responsible for maintaining spiritual balance and ethical standards, underwent devastating corruption. Temples dedicated to the Aeldari pantheon gradually shifted their focus from worship and enlightenment to the cultivation of extreme experiences. Priests began interpreting ancient texts in ways that justified hedonistic practices, claiming that the pursuit of sensation represented the highest form of spiritual expression. This perversion of religious authority removed one of the last remaining barriers to societal degradation. The manipulation of souls and psychic energy reached unprecedented levels of sophistication, yet this mastery served primarily to amplify forbidden pleasures and dangerous experiments. Psychic technologies designed for communion with the gods were repurposed for the creation of increasingly intense sensory experiences. The very innovations that should have elevated Aeldari consciousness instead became tools for its corruption, creating feedback loops of psychic energy that would eventually contribute to Slaaneş's birth. Political power concentrated in the hands of those who could provide the most novel and intense experiences, leading to the rise of pleasure cults and sensation merchants. Traditional governance structures collapsed as decision-making became increasingly focused on the pursuit of new thrills rather than the welfare of society. Those who advocated for moderation or warned of consequences found themselves marginalized or worse, their voices drowned out by the cacophony of excess. Environmental manipulation reached its apex as entire worlds were reshaped into pleasure palaces and sensation theaters. The Aeldari's masterful terraform technology, originally developed to create habitable worlds, was perverted to craft environments dedicated solely to the pursuit of extreme experiences. Natural ecosystems were destroyed and replaced with artificial landscapes designed to stimulate and titillate, severing the species' connection to the natural order they once revered. Knowledge preservation suffered as the Empire's focus shifted away from understanding and wisdom toward the pursuit of immediate gratification. Ancient libraries were neglected or repurposed, their contents deemed irrelevant to a society obsessed with novel experiences. The loss of historical perspective accelerated the descent into decadence, as younger generations lost touch with the wisdom and warnings of their ancestors. Those who would become the Exodites witnessed these changes with mounting horror, recognizing patterns that echoed through their species' ancient myths and prophecies. They observed how each aspect of their civilization's decay interconnected with others, creating an accelerating spiral toward catastrophe. Their decision to depart stemmed not from a single factor, but from this comprehensive understanding of their society's terminal trajectory. The prerequisites for the Exodite exodus thus encompassed far more than simple moral decay. They represented the complete unraveling of a civilization that had achieved such mastery over the material realm that it lost all connection to the fundamental truths that had once made it great. This total systemic failure convinced the future Exodites that no reform or partial measure could prevent the coming catastrophe. Only a complete break with their degraded society offered hope for survival. Millions of years before the fall, the first wave of Exodus began with small groups of seers and philosophers quietly departing the heart of the Empire. These initial pioneers selected worlds far from major webway routes, deliberately choosing planets that would challenge their survival skills. Their departures, though noticed, generated little concern among the pleasure-obsessed nobility, who viewed the abandonments as merely another eccentric protest against progress. The terraforming period followed, lasting several millennia as the pioneers transformed their chosen worlds. Using sophisticated biological engineering and psychic technology, they reshaped hostile environments into habitable ecosystems. This process differed significantly from standard Aeldari terraforming. Instead of creating perfectly controlled environments, they deliberately maintained elements of wildness and challenge, believing that struggle would preserve their species' strength. Establishment of the first world spirit networks marked a crucial advancement in Exodite civilization. These pioneers developed new technologies that merged their psychic abilities with planetary consciousness, creating systems that would both protect their souls and maintain ecological balance. This achievement, occurring approximately 500,000 years before the fall, represented a fundamental departure from the Empire's approach to psychic engineering. The Great Migration accelerated as news of successful settlements spread through hidden networks of dissidents and truth-seekers. Entire extended families and communities began disappearing from the Empire's registers, taking with them carefully selected archives of knowledge and technology. These larger movements proved harder to conceal, prompting the first serious opposition from imperial authorities who feared losing valuable resources and population. Development of the Dragon Knight traditions emerged during the period of early settlement, roughly 300,000 years before the fall. As colonists encountered massive indigenous creatures on their new worlds, they developed methods to domesticate and bond with these beings. This practice evolved from necessity into a cornerstone of Exodite culture, combining practical transportation needs with spiritual symbolism. The World Singer traditions crystallized approximately 200,000 years before the fall, as successive generations of psychic practitioners refined their understanding of planetary consciousness. These specialists developed increasingly sophisticated techniques for communicating with and directing the world's spirits, creating the foundation for sustainable Exodite civilization. Their teachings spread among the growing network of colony worlds, helping maintain cultural unity despite physical separation. Integration of the ghost warrior systems occurred roughly 150,000 years before the fall, representing a crucial adaptation of imperial technology. This development allowed Exodite societies to preserve the experience and wisdom of their deceased while providing sophisticated planetary defense networks. The system's success demonstrated that technological advancement could coexist with their chosen lifestyle when properly aligned with their values. The establishment of interworld communication networks, completed approximately 100,000 years before the fall, connected the scattered Exodite communities while maintaining their isolation from imperial influence. These systems, utilizing modified webway technology and world spirit connections, allowed colonies to share knowledge and warnings while preserving their independence. 50,000 years before the fall, Exodite societies faced their first major crisis as imperial expeditions began actively seeking their worlds. This period forced them to develop sophisticated camouflage technologies and defense strategies, many of which remain in use today. Their success in preserving their independence validated their martial traditions and survival strategies. The first contact protocols with craft-world Aeldari developed in the immediate aftermath of the fall, as survivors from the collapsed empire sought refuge among their formerly dismissed cousins. These interactions required careful negotiation, as Exodite societies worked to aid their kin while preserving their own distinct culture and preventing the infiltration of corrupting influences. Consolidation of modern Exodite culture occurred over the millennia following the fall, as their societies refined their traditions and adapted to new threats. This period saw the codification of many practices that had evolved organically during their exodus, creating the structured yet flexible civilization that endures in the 41st millennium. The Age of Defense began as humanity's Great Crusade expanded across the galaxy, forcing Exodite worlds to enhance their protective measures against this new threat. This era, continuing through the Horus Heresy and into the current millennium, has seen Exodite societies successfully resist countless attempts at invasion and colonization, validating their military traditions and defensive strategies. Recent centuries have witnessed increased cooperation between Exodite worlds and their craft world kin, driven by necessity as threats to both civilizations multiply. This collaboration, while careful to maintain cultural boundaries, has led to exchanges of knowledge and resources that strengthen both societies while preserving their distinct paths of survival. Screams echoed through the crystalline spires as reality itself buckled beneath the weight of accumulated excess. The moment of Slaaneş's birth marked the ultimate vindication of the Exodites' choice, yet brought them no satisfaction. As the heart of the Aeldari Empire imploded into what would become the Eye of Terror, the Maiden World's inhabitants witnessed the death of their civilization through their world spirit networks, experiencing a collective trauma that would forever alter their society. The psychic shockwave of the fall manifested differently on Exodite worlds than in the heart of the Empire. Their world spirit networks, designed to preserve and protect their people's souls, faced their greatest test as they absorbed and redirected the catastrophic energies. Every settlement witnessed the spontaneous activation of their ghost warrior matrices as the systems worked to shelter both the living and the dead from Slaaneş's hungry grasp. This moments of crisis proved the true sophistication of their seemingly primitive technology. Dragons across 100 worlds roared in unified defiance as their riders guided them in ancient ceremonies of protection. The dragon nobles, acting on instructions passed down through generations for precisely this moment, led their people in psychic rituals that strengthened their world's natural defenses. These ceremonies, preserved for millennia by those dismissed as backward savages, demonstrated the foresight of their ancestors who had prepared for this very catastrophe. World singers gathered in sacred circles, their voices raised in songs of power that helped stabilize the world spirit networks under unprecedented strain. Their carefully maintained traditions, incorporating both technological expertise and spiritual wisdom, proved crucial in preserving their communities through the psychic apocalypse. The songs they sang during those dark hours would be added to their oral histories, ensuring future generations would remember both the catastrophe and their survival. The Maiden World's distance from the Empire's heart proved providential, as the physical separation helped buffer them from the worst effects of the fall. Yet this protection came with a price. They could only watch helplessly as billions of their kin perished in an apocalypse of their own making. The survivors' guilt manifested in new cultural traditions and remembrance rituals that persist into the present era. Within hours of the catastrophe, the first refugees appeared on Exodite worlds, struggling through damaged webway gates or arriving in ships pushed far beyond their normal capabilities. The Exodites faced their first great test of compassion, whether to assist these desperate survivors while risking the corruption of their carefully maintained societies. Each world made its own choice, leading to diverse approaches to refugee integration that would shape their future relations with other Aeldari factions. The Ghost Warrior networks experienced unprecedented activation as countless souls sought refuge from Slaaneş's grasp. The world spirits strained to accommodate this influx, forcing rapid adaptation of their soul preservation technologies. This crisis led to innovations in their psychic engineering that would later prove crucial for maintaining their way of life in an increasingly hostile galaxy. Many Exodite worlds witnessed spontaneous manifestations of planetary consciousness during the fall, as their world spirits responded to the psychic trauma. These manifestations ranged from geometric patterns appearing in forests to massive migrations of megalithic beasts. The events demonstrated the deep connection between Exodite societies and their adopted worlds, revealing layers of interaction previously unknown even to the world singers. The fall's aftermath brought a period of intense soul-searching as Exodite communities struggled to balance their vindication with the horror of their civilization's death. This period saw the emergence of new philosophical traditions that would help them process their complex emotions while maintaining their cultural identity. Their success in navigating this crisis would later serve as a model for other surviving Aeldari factions. Dragon nobles across multiple worlds reported receiving psychic visions during the fall, glimpsing possible futures for their people. These visions, carefully recorded and compared, helped shape the defensive strategies and cultural adaptations that would preserve their societies through the coming millennia. The accuracy of these prophecies would cement the authority of the dragon nobles in Exodite society. The immediate post-fall period witnessed a surge in psychic activity across all maiden worlds as their inhabitants processed the collective trauma. This manifestation of grief and horror led to the creation of new ritual practices designed to channel these emotions constructively. These traditions would evolve into sophisticated cultural mechanisms for maintaining psychological balance in their communities. Beyond the immediate crisis, the fall served as ultimate confirmation of the Exodites' worldview, validating their rejection of unbridled progress and embrace of natural limitations. This vindication, however, brought no triumph but rather a deep determination to preserve their path as a viable alternative for their species' survival. Their experience would serve as a constant reminder of the price of hubris and the value of chosen constraint. Fundamental realignments rippled through the webway network following the fall, severing many established connections and forcing Exodite worlds to adapt their interstellar communication systems. This disruption led to the development of new psychic technologies that utilized their world spirit networks in unprecedented ways. Their isolation, once a conscious choice, became an enforced reality that demanded even greater self-sufficiency. The demographic impact reshaped Exodite society as refugee populations integrated into their communities. These newcomers brought with them technical knowledge and psychic traditions that had to be carefully evaluated and selectively incorporated. The process of integration varied between worlds, with some maintaining strict segregation for generations, while others developed sophisticated cultural adaptation protocols that would later become standard practice. Adaptation of military doctrine proved necessary as new threats emerged in the post-fall galaxy. The Dragon Knights expanded their traditional roles, developing specialized units capable of countering technologically advanced adversaries. Their success in defending their worlds while maintaining their cultural integrity demonstrated the viability of their unique approach to warfare, combining biological assets with sophisticated psychic techniques. Psychological trauma from witnessing the fall transformed Exodite cultural practices. New rituals emerged to process collective grief and maintain psychological health, many incorporating elements of their world spirit technology. These ceremonies evolved into complex traditions that helped subsequent generations understand the catastrophe's implications while avoiding the paralysis of perpetual mourning. The relationship between Exodite worlds and their craft world cousins underwent significant evolution. Initial wariness gave way to carefully negotiated diplomatic protocols as both groups recognized their mutual need for allies in an increasingly hostile galaxy. These interactions led to selective technological and cultural exchanges that enriched both societies while maintaining their distinct identities. Environmental management systems required substantial modification as the world spirits adjusted to post-fall reality. The psychic aftermath affected planetary ecosystems in unexpected ways, forcing world singers to develop new techniques for maintaining ecological balance. Their solutions often involved deeper integration with their world's natural systems, further distinguishing their approach from conventional Aeldari technology. The Ghost Warrior networks experienced permanent transformation as they adapted to accommodate the souls of fall refugees. This challenge led to innovations in soul preservation technology that would influence all aspects of Exodite society. The expanded capabilities of these systems provided new defensive options while reinforcing the spiritual foundations of their civilization. Trade relationships with other surviving Aeldari factions developed along carefully controlled lines. Exodite worlds became valuable sources of certain rare materials and biological products, while their expertise in soul preservation technology made them important allies. These economic connections required sophisticated cultural protocols to prevent unwanted influences from compromising their chosen way of life. Educational systems underwent significant revision to incorporate lessons from the fall without breeding paralyzing fear or inappropriate pride. Young Exodites learn to understand their ancestors' choices through practical experience rather than mere instruction, participating in traditions that connected them directly with their world's world spirits and the wisdom of past generations. Technological development took new directions as Exodite societies refined their unique approach to innovation. Rather than pursuing power through artificial means, they focused on deeper understanding and integration with natural systems. This path led to discoveries that even their craft-world cousins found remarkable, particularly in the fields of psychic ecology and soul preservation. The role of dragon nobles evolved to meet new challenges as they balanced traditional responsibilities with the need to protect their worlds from emerging threats. Their authority became more closely tied to demonstrated ability to maintain harmony between their communities and their world's world spirits, leading to new methods of selecting and training leadership. Diplomatic protocols with human civilizations required careful development as the species expanded into the galaxy. Each Exodite world faced decisions about how to interact with or hide from these potential threats. Their solutions often involved sophisticated combinations of psychic misdirection and ecological camouflage, demonstrating the practical applications of their seemingly primitive technology. The preservation of Aeldari cultural heritage took on new importance as Exodite societies recognized their role as custodians of traditions that had been lost elsewhere. This responsibility led to the development of new methods for storing and transmitting cultural knowledge through their world spirit networks, ensuring that crucial aspects of their civilization's history would survive for future generations. World spirit matrices represent the pinnacle of Exodite technological achievement, far more sophisticated than their superficially primitive appearance suggests. These systems integrate planetary consciousness with Aeldari souls through crystalline networks that span entire continents. Unlike the infinity circuits of craft worlds, world spirits maintain dynamic connections with their planet's ecosystems, allowing for direct manipulation of environmental conditions and the activation of biological defense mechanisms during times of crisis. Megafaunal integration protocols demonstrate the Exodites' mastery of biological engineering. Dragon Knights employ psychoreactive compounds and neural interfaces to establish deep mental connections with their mounts, achieving levels of synchronization that surpass conventional technological control systems. These bonds extend beyond simple psychological links, creating permanent alterations in both rider and mount that enhance their combined capabilities. Ecological warfare systems utilize the planet itself as a weapons platform. World Singers can trigger coordinated responses from entire ecosystems, causing rapid environmental changes that disadvantage invading forces. These tactics range from subtle alterations in atmospheric composition to dramatic geological events, all carefully controlled through the World Spirit Network to minimize long-term damage to the planet's biosphere. Crystal technology forms the backbone of Exodite defense infrastructure. Psychically reactive crystals, grown through centuries of careful cultivation, serve multiple functions simultaneously. They act as communication nodes, weapon platforms, and soul repositories, their molecular structure encoding complex operational protocols that activate automatically in response to threats. These crystals maintain their functionality even when separated from central control systems, providing redundancy in defense networks. Bioorganic armor systems evolved from the Exodites' understanding of their world's indigenous life forms. By studying creatures that naturally developed resistance to various weapons, they created living armor that adapts to specific threats. These systems integrate directly with their wearers' nervous systems, providing enhanced sensory awareness while maintaining compatibility with their world spirit technology. Psychic camouflage techniques demonstrate unprecedented sophistication in merging technological and natural systems. Exodite settlements can effectively mask their presence not just from visual detection, but from the full spectrum of scanning technologies. These systems work by integrating with natural biological processes, creating zones of psychological uncertainty that discourage investigation rather than simply hiding physical evidence. Soul transfer protocols represent a unique approach to preserving consciousness after death. Unlike the infinity circuits of their craft-world cousins, Exodite systems maintain active integration between preserved souls and their planetary environment. This connection allows ghost warriors to manifest through any part of the world spirit network, effectively defending entire continents simultaneously. Terraforming technology underwent significant evolution under Exodite application. Rather than imposing artificial environments, their systems work to enhance and direct natural planetary processes. This approach results in more stable ecosystems that can self-regulate and adapt to changing conditions without constant technological intervention. Biological weapon systems demonstrate the Exodites' ability to weaponize natural processes without compromising their environmental principles. From psychically activated plant defenses to coordinated predator response networks, these systems provide layered defensive capabilities that become more effective as invaders penetrate deeper into their territories. Dragon mount breeding programs combine genetic engineering with psychic attunement techniques. Each generation of mounts undergoes careful selection and enhancement, producing creatures that combine the best attributes of natural evolution with deliberately cultivated traits. These programs maintain detailed genetic archives through their world spirit networks, ensuring the preservation of valuable bloodlines. Atmospheric control systems operate through networks of psychically active plants and crystals. These installations can rapidly alter local weather conditions, creating tactical advantages while maintaining long-term environmental stability. The system's distributed nature makes it highly resistant to conventional military countermeasures. Portal technology adapted for Exodite use relies on natural energy flows rather than artificial power sources. These systems integrate with planetary ley lines through crystal focusing arrays, allowing for rapid deployment of defenders while maintaining strict control over access points. The technology's dependence on natural energy patterns makes it more difficult for outsiders to detect or predict portal locations. Defensive ecosystem engineering represents one of the Exodites' most subtle yet effective technologies. Over generations, they shaped their world's evolution to produce naturally occurring defensive features, from psychically reactive vegetation to geologically unstable regions that can be triggered during invasions. These modifications appear entirely natural to outside observation, preserving operational security. Irelith the Shadeseer stands as one of the most significant figures in Exodite history, having led the first major exodus from the Empire. Their prophetic visions, recorded in crystalline matrices across multiple maiden worlds, provided the foundation for world spirit technology. Modern scholars study these prophecies not merely for their historical significance, but for their continuing relevance, as many of Irelith's predictions about the evolution of threats to Exodite worlds prove increasingly accurate in the 41st millennium. Morai Heth, the Dragon Tamer, revolutionized the relationship between Exodites and their world's megafauna. Their pioneering work in psychic bonding techniques created the foundation for the Dragon Knight traditions. The journals detailing their early experiments, preserved within World Spirit archives, reveal both brilliant insights and costly failures that helped establish safe protocols for beast mastery. Their legacy continues through the annual competitions held across maiden worlds, where young riders demonstrate their mastery of Morai Heth's techniques. The infamous Zenarian, once a celebrated craft world autarch, attempted to forcibly modernize several Exodite worlds, viewing their lifestyle as a waste of resources. Their campaign of technological integration met fierce resistance, culminating in a devastating battle that demonstrated the effectiveness of Exodite defensive strategies. The incident established important precedents for maintaining independence from well-meaning but misguided interference from their technologically advanced cousins. Myceletia the Verdant stands as one of the most celebrated world singers, having developed crucial refinements to world spirit technology during the aftermath of the Fall. Their innovations in soul preservation techniques helped numerous communities survive the psychic turbulence of that era. Modern world singers still study Celestia's methodologies, preserved through direct soul imprints in their world spirit networks, adapting ancient wisdom to contemporary challenges. Lord Bieltan, while not strictly a villain to the Exodites, represents a complex figure whose aggressive protection often threatens Exodite autonomy. Their craft world's militant support sometimes proves as disruptive as the threats they combat, leading to carefully negotiated protocols for intervention. The tension between accepting necessary aid and maintaining independence shapes many modern Exodite diplomatic policies. Calidus the Betrayer earned their infamous reputation by attempting to subvert world spirit networks for personal power. Their actions led to the development of additional security protocols in soul preservation systems and served as a cautionary tale about the dangers of individual ambition. The incident prompted important reforms in how Exodite communities select and monitor their leaders. Eneadin the Preserver garnered recognition for developing sophisticated camouflage technologies that hide maiden worlds from detection. Their work, combining natural phenomena with psychic manipulation, created the foundation for modern Exodite stealth systems. The techniques they pioneered continue to evolve, protecting countless communities from discovery by hostile forces. High Ranger Morvain gained prominence through their successful defense of 3 different maiden worlds against Dark Eldar raids. Their tactical innovations, particularly in coordinating Dragon Knights with world spirit manifestations, revolutionized Exodite military doctrine. The training protocols they established remain standard practice across many worlds. The Dark Muse cultists, a splinter group that attempted to establish hidden pleasure temples on Exodite worlds, represent one of the most insidious threats faced by these communities. Their subtle corruption required the development of new psychic detection techniques, leading to enhanced spiritual protection protocols that remain in use. Archdruid Isha's Tear earned their name through their crucial role in preserving ancient Eldari agricultural knowledge during the Exodus. Their techniques for integrating traditional farming practices with world spirit networks ensured sustainable food production across multiple worlds. Their methodology continues to influence Exodite approaches to ecosystem management. The Ghost Council of Albanix, comprising preserved souls of ancient dragon nobles, provides ongoing guidance to multiple maiden worlds. Their collective wisdom, accumulated over millennia and maintained through sophisticated soul preservation techniques, helps communities navigate contemporary challenges while maintaining traditional values. Void Hunter Elassian achieved legendary status for developing early warning systems that detect webway disruptions, crucial for protecting Exodite worlds from sudden invasions. Their work combined traditional tracking techniques with psychic technology in ways that demonstrated the sophisticated potential of seemingly primitive methods. The Twisted Seer of Grend serves as a cautionary figure, having attempted to merge Dark Eldar technology with world spirit networks. Their experiments, while ultimately prevented, led to important improvements in protective wards and screening protocols for technological integration. Hidden beneath the surfaces of many maiden worlds lie vast networks of pre-fall technology, their purpose and full capabilities remaining mysterious even to the world singers who monitor them. These ancient installations appear to interact with the world spirit networks in ways that suggest predetermined protocols, activating in response to specific threats or celestial alignments. Some theorize these systems represent fail-safe measures installed by the original settlers, while others suspect they predate even the earliest Exodite colonies. The phenomenon of synchronized dragon migrations across multiple maiden worlds continues to puzzle even the most experienced dragon nobles. These coordinated movements, occurring at irregular intervals but displaying precise timing across light years of space, suggest levels of interconnection between world spirit networks that exceed current understanding. Attempts to study these events often reveal tantalizing hints of deeper patterns that seem to extend beyond normal space-time. Ghostly manifestations of unknown origin occasionally appear through world spirit matrices, displaying characteristics that match no recorded Aeldari souls. These entities demonstrate awareness of both past and future events, leading some to speculate they represent echoes of the old pantheon or manifestations of the planet's own consciousness. Their appearances often coincide with significant events, though the nature of this correlation remains unclear. The existence of dark zones within world spirit networks presents an ongoing mystery. These areas, ranging from small patches to vast regional dead zones, resist all attempts at psychic integration or technological investigation. Some theorize these represent defensive measures against chaos corruption, while others suggest they contain preserved fragments of pre-fall knowledge deemed too dangerous for access. Recurring patterns in world spirit architecture across widely separated maiden worlds suggest a level of coordination among the original settlers that exceeds historical records. These similarities extend beyond basic functional requirements into symbolic and geometric configurations that appear to serve no obvious purpose. Some scholars propose these patterns form part of a vast psychic mechanism whose purpose remains unknown. The phenomenon of ghost echoes, temporary manifestations of entire cities or landscapes that vanish upon close inspection, occurs with increasing frequency across multiple maiden worlds. These apparitions display technological and architectural features that match no known period of Aeldari history, raising questions about possible alternate timeline, bleed-through, or psychic imprints from future possibilities. Unexplained interactions between world spirit networks and certain types of Necron technology hint at connections predating the war in heaven. Several documented instances show Necron artifacts responding to world spirit activity in ways that suggest deliberate design rather than coincidental compatibility. These observations challenge conventional understanding of both technologies' origins. The discovery of sealed chambers within ancient Exodite settlements, protected by psychic barriers that resist all known methods of investigation, raises intriguing questions about what the original settlers feared or preserved. These chambers appear at similar geometric intervals across multiple worlds, suggesting a coordinated effort to maintain some form of containment network. Temporal anomalies occurring within certain world spirit nexus points demonstrate properties that defy conventional understanding of psychic physics. These locations experience occasional time slips, where past and future events become momentarily accessible to present observation. Attempts to study these phenomena often result in paradoxical data that suggests deeper complexities in the relationship between world spirits and reality itself. The existence of wild spirits, conscious entities within world spirit networks that display characteristics of neither preserved Aeldari souls nor planetary consciousness, presents an ongoing enigma. These beings demonstrate capabilities that exceed theoretical limits of both technologies, suggesting either unknown aspects of world spirit function or the presence of entities that predate Exodite settlement. Reports of synchronized psychic phenomena across multiple maiden worlds during specific stellar alignments hint at larger patterns in Exodite settlement planning. These events, occurring with mathematical precision, suggest the original colonization efforts followed templates designed to create vast, interconnected psychic structures whose full purpose remains unknown. The discovery of modified world spirit protocols that appear to anticipate future threats raises questions about the true extent of pre-fall foresight. These adaptations, lying dormant until specific conditions arise, demonstrate sophistication that exceeds current understanding of psychic technology, while suggesting the original settlers possessed knowledge of threats yet to manifest. The persistent mystery of phantom gates, webway portals that appear during times of extreme need but cannot be reliably mapped or accessed, challenges conventional understanding of both world spirit and webway technology. These manifestations suggest possibilities for emergency travel systems built into the original settlement plans, though their triggering mechanisms remain unclear. Scattered across the stars, Exodite worlds stand as living testimonies to the power of chosen limitation. Their continued survival, millennia after the fall, validates not only their ancestors' foresight, but the viability of their unique path forward. These societies demonstrate that technological sophistication need not conflict with environmental harmony, offering crucial lessons for a galaxy dominated by increasingly destructive civilizations. The profound influence of Exodite philosophy extends far beyond their own communities. Their successful integration of advanced technology with natural systems has attracted increasing attention from other Aeldari factions seeking sustainable alternatives to their own paths. Even some progressive elements within the craft worlds have begun studying Exodite methods of soul preservation, recognizing advantages in systems that maintain active connection with living ecosystems. Technological evolution among Exodite societies continues along paths that challenge conventional understanding of progress. Their innovations in psychic ecology and soul preservation regularly achieve results that surprise even their most sophisticated kin. These developments suggest possibilities for advancement that don't require the sacrifice of natural harmony or spiritual balance, offering hope for sustainable technological evolution. The role of Maiden Worlds in preserving Aeldari cultural heritage has proved increasingly crucial as other surviving fragments of their civilization face mounting pressures. These communities maintain living connections to traditions and knowledge lost elsewhere, their world spirit networks preserving not just information but the lived experience of countless generations. This repository of cultural memory may prove vital for any future restoration of their species. Strategic importance of Exodite worlds grows as various powers vie for dominance in the galaxy. Their sophisticated defensive capabilities, combined with their ability to maintain self-sufficient societies outside major power structures, make them increasingly valuable as potential allies or staging areas. This rising significance forces them to balance their traditional isolation against the need for strategic partnerships. Environmental adaptation capabilities developed by Exodite societies demonstrate increasingly relevant applications as various worlds face ecological challenges. Their techniques for maintaining planetary health while supporting sophisticated civilization offer potential solutions for problems facing numerous species. This expertise, carefully shared through controlled channels, enhances their diplomatic position while advancing their philosophy of environmental harmony. The evolution of world spirit technology continues to reveal new possibilities for consciousness preservation and environmental integration. Recent developments suggest potential applications that could revolutionize approaches to planetary defense and ecosystem management across multiple species. These advances reinforce the validity of pursuing technological progress through harmony with natural systems rather than dominion over them. Diplomatic relationships between Exodite worlds and other civilizations grow increasingly complex as various powers recognize their unique capabilities. Their ability to maintain advanced societies while avoiding the attention of chaos entities particularly interests those seeking alternatives to conventional technological development. This attention forces careful balance between sharing beneficial knowledge and maintaining crucial separation from potentially corrupting influences. The role of Dragon Knights evolves as new threats emerge across the galaxy. Their unique combination of biological integration and psychic technology proves surprisingly effective against both conventional and supernatural enemies. These successes attract increasing interest from military theorists studying alternatives to purely mechanical warfare, though Exodite societies carefully guard the spiritual foundations that make their methods viable. Preservation of ancient knowledge through world spirit networks gains new significance as various catastrophes threaten other repositories of Aeldari wisdom. The distributed nature of their archive system, combined with its integration into living ecosystems, provides resilience that artificial storage systems cannot match. This advantage suggests possible futures where Exodite worlds become crucial centers for cultural revival. The future of Exodite civilization appears increasingly vital to the survival of Aeldari culture as a whole. Their demonstrated ability to maintain sophisticated society while avoiding the spiritual pitfalls that threaten other paths offers hope for long-term species survival. This reality forces both Exodites and their cousins to reconsider traditional relationships and explore new possibilities for cooperation without compromising crucial principles. Recent discoveries in world spirit technology suggest possibilities for enhanced resistance against chaos influenced through deeper integration with planetary consciousness. These developments indicate potential paths forward, not just for Aeldari civilization, but for any species seeking sustainable existence in a galaxy threatened by supernatural corruption. This possibility positions Exodite philosophy as increasingly relevant to the fundamental challenges facing multiple civilizations. The legacy of the Exodites' choice extends far beyond their own survival, offering crucial lessons about the relationship between technological advancement and spiritual health. Their path demonstrates that progress need not require separation from natural systems or the abandonment of traditional wisdom. This example becomes increasingly relevant as various civilizations face challenges that mirror those which led to the fall of the Aeldari Empire.